officially good afternoon and welcome to the Learning Exchange Fireside Chat, Bespoke Finances with Simone Lane. In this session, we are going to be uncovering the secrets to achieving financial success tailored to your unique circumstances and your goals. So, my introduction, my name is Melissa Cheema. And for those of you who might find it helpful, I'll give you a brief visual description of myself. I am in my fabulous 40s and I'm wearing a burnt orange kind of gold satin shirt, fun low green earrings. And I think this hairstyle now is like a long bob. So, as far as my professional background, I am the majority owner and CFO of CFA Design Group. As CFA Design Group is a design, consulting, and integration firm specializing in architectural acoustics design and interactive media technology. So, essentially, we make things look good, sound good, and feel good. So, I am based in the greater DC metro area, Northern Virginia, for those of you who know. And I am a self proclaimed solutionist. So, my superpower, I'll have you share this as well, Simone, your superpower. But mine is in creating simplicity over complexity for businesses that are on the grow, which is why I'm so excited to be here today with Simone and moderating this fireside chat. Awesome. So I asked you to do that first because it's going to set me up here. And I know some of you may have missed a little bit of what she said, but in working in integrity and being true to herself. So this is right in line with everything that you are. Simone Lane is the owner of Bespoke Wealth Services, formerly Lobdell and Lane Wealth Management, a minority woman-owned independent advisory firm. Her firm thrives in a predominantly white male field of financial advisory. And Simone's journey in finance began as a temporary admin assistant for a financial advisor specializing in investment. And fast forward to today, 2023, Simone ultimately purchased that finance company in 2020 and has been evolving and carving her own space and identifying the audiences that she's been designed to speak to. And so I know, Simone, you are definitely excited to be here today at the Learning Exchange. Simone devotes her personal time with her family and her community. And she's happily married with 3 adult children and a beautiful granddaughter. So tips before we jump right in and get some insight from Simone. Go ahead. You can use the chat for comments. If you want to go ahead and put in your superpower, I'd love to know all of your superpowers. But use the chat for that. We also have a Q&A icon. We're going to be using Q&A for any questions that you have. We'll try to answer some of those in between the session and some at the end as well. So real quick, little roll call. I always love to know where people are calling in from. Do we have anybody on the West Coast, in the Dirty South, in the Northeast, Midwest, East Coast? Where are you joining in from? Just drop that in the chat. We have Florida, Charlotte. Oh, I love Charlotte. There's so much to do in Charlotte. The Midwest, nice. East Coast love all the way. Yes. New York. I don't know HTX. Is that Houston? Now I have something new. DMV. Nice. Houston's in the house. Okay, wonderful. Welcome Atlanta. I was waiting for Atlanta. Atlanta will welcome everyone. So as we are jumping right in, I know that we're ready to dive into these finances and how you can create some strategies for your personal success, financial success. Before we do, Simone, when I saw the title Bespoke Finances, I was like, I want to know what I know, but I don't know what I don't know. And so can you share the meaning of our session title, Bespoke Finances, and what that means to you?
Absolutely. 10 years I came across this word bespoke as I'm reading this book. I can't remember what book it was right now, but what I remember most was the wording about this gentleman's suit being bespoke, and it captured me. So I go looking up the definition, and I find that what it means is tailored, custom, specific to that gentleman in the case of the story. And that, again, it spoke to me. It speaks to who I am. I believe in really one-on-one, authentic relationships, and Bespoke became just a signal for who I am. So I have both a budgeting business called Bespoke Budgeting, and I recently changed my firm name to Bespoke Wealth Services. So
Wonderful.
tailored, custom, one-on-one, specific to you. I
Wonderful.
know I'm having some signal problem. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I heard all of that. Hopefully, you all can give a thumbs up if you heard her definition of bespoke finances. I heard all of that. Thank you. I was taking notes as well. As we are going along, I would love to launch one of our polls just to really find out what industries you all are working in, because that will help us to tailor this fireside chat specifically to you. So if we can launch the poll on industry. Oh, this poll is what type of profession. This one is fine as well. If you can go ahead and vote here on what type of professional are you? Are you a consultant, a freelancer, employee, or a small business owner? So we have a lot of people
Okay.
here in L&D.
So I saw mostly one of our attendees that poll.
So Simona, looks like we're speaking mainly to those in the L&D field, education, technology, and a few in the medical field. So with that being said, many of the attendees and members of BLD are independent consultants. Some of them are freelancers within the L&D industry, or maybe they are in education considering transitioning into the L&D industry. And I know in my experience as a small business owner, it's a rude awakening to, find out that there are seasons of feast when there is more than enough, and then there are seasons of famine when it doesn't feel like there's ever enough. So when you're really thinking about working with clients in that have that experience, how do you assist them in creating a flexible yet robust financial roadmap?
That's a great question. I would say the first thing, it's really important to what I call find your financial truth.
Mm-hmm.
So often we compare ourselves to what we'll quickly Google um, what income a certain field has. And so we think that everyone is getting that, or that's the standard. You must really be true to your financial truth. And in doing that, you'll find structure and discipline. I'm just an advocate for balance. You have to find out, live a lifestyle you can afford, and knowing when it's feast, then that means that you should be feastfully saving, feastfully putting away, feastfully doing all of the things while you feast to support the family, especially if you know you're in an industry. Um, if you know you're in an industry that does have those ups and downs, if it has those lags, then you really need to be strategic in how you put things away so that the hardship of the famine isn't so difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Store away, store away. I am a big advocate for saving. It's a big part of what I do. I'll share, and this you didn't ask, but I'll share. As an advisor, I would often have people come and they want to invest. And I'm very holistic. We have to look at the whole portfolio. If you're not putting into your retirement, if you don't have life insurance, you probably shouldn't, you're not really ready to invest yet.
Mm.
And so that's one of the spaces that I birthed a budgeting business, is we have investable dollars. And so, really starting with making sure that you have a clear budget that allocates for all of the things, all of the necessities of life, is really important.
And I think you answered really the next question I was going to ask you, because I have this little stone wall art in the other room that says, it's a Chinese proverb, and it says, journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So I don't know how many of you have heard
Yes.
that proverb before, but basically just meaning that, to reach your own success, you simply really need to take one step forward. And so with you really thinking about your journey and hindsight being 2020, like everything's clear on the other side. When you look back, what
Mhm.
simple steps did you take that took you from, an administrative assistant to owning the financial company you were working for? What was one step that you took that helped you to get to your own financial success?
Mm, you have good questions. Um, my response is not, it's not financial. So I feel a little, nervous about saying that, but it's not a financial answer. I had to come into my purpose.
Mm,
Um, I'll be quite frank. My partner wanted me to take over the business years before I was ready. And I mean, so much like, he's like, I want you to have this. He had other opportunities. He could have sold the business elsewhere, but he held on long enough for me to get it, long enough for me to find my voice, my strength. And so I would say the biggest thing is find your purpose. When you find your sweet spot, that thing that you're called to do, it's like everything else balances out. So that's what happened for me. I just kept working at it. He stayed patient, and one day it clicked. And part of that is, especially in a for me, a white male dominated industry, where's my space in
mm,
this. And once I found that there was a target audience for me, that there were people that were waiting for me to show up, waiting for me to come to let them know that it is possible.
mm,
The other part of the journey for me was, even after becoming a financial advisor, uh, I'd had debt. I had debt, and there was a space and a time that I wanted to work with people to rectify that, to get out of the debt cycle.
mm,
And I went into a program called a D-free program. And I'll be honest with you, I was pretty arrogant. I'm a financial advisor. I know what it should take. And this program arrested me. It
mm,
really captured me, and I realized that I needed to get out of debt because I can make my payments. I was more than able to make my payments. What I wasn't able to do was anything else. I
mm.
wasn't able to give to things that were important to me. I wasn't valuable. And that is another essential part of the journey for me, was walking into my own financial truth and knowing that I needed to be debt free in order to do the things I needed and wanted to do.
That was full. Thank you. And that was off script, I know, because that wasn't something we had previously discussed. But I think, did that help anybody?
I hope so.
I hope so. I think it did. um, I have a follow up question to piggyback on that, because
Okay.
many of the attendees today, they've taken a step to join us in learning about their personal financial strategies, and they obviously want to learn more about this topic. For the person who is just starting out, just developing the skill of financial literacy, how do you make the complex world of finance more digestible for your clients?
Education is a big part of my practice. I always say I never want a client. It's shameful for me for a client to have gone to dinner with friends and discussing possibly the conversation of finance coming up, and they say, "Oh, I don't know what I have. I just have an account." That is shame on me. That is not the answer that I want them to have. So education is a really, really big part of what I do and how we put together a portfolio. You're true to the bespoke bespoke, true to the bespoke nature of what I do, is your journey. And you have to find, like I said, you said you're one of the things you're a solutionist. What makes you have a stomach ache at night? So figuring
Mm-hmm.
out those spaces for yourself, how that your time to build a plan that will be important, and then taking align with who you are looks like first just living within your means, and then we build to what products work for you. You said, how do I help them? What I do is we talk a lot about what matters to them. You know, I have some clients that, ESG products are really important. They want environmentally safe, healthy,
Mm-hmm.
green holdings. That's part of what we go into. So really finding out who you are, what matters to you, and invest in those things. I have one of the things I do for younger people is I have a niece that has probably 30 pairs of Crocs. We must buy Croc stock. Those are some of the strategies that I put in place. Buy things that you like, they're money. So that's pretty much one of the strategies that we use. But education is really important.
Yep. And we have a question that just popped up in the Q&A. Um, it says, if you get a large amount of money, what steps would you suggest a person take beyond getting out of debt? How would you choose the right financial advisor for you?
Choosing the right, I'm going to start with the last question and then getting to what you can do with the large sum of money. Your advisor has to speak to you. There are certain people that are attached to my sound. There are certain people that are strategies, and there are some that are not. So finding that person that resonates with you, that hears you. You want to know that your vision is heard, that your goals are heard. You want to know um, that you are valuable to them, that they're putting you before dollars, before their own dollars. Um, those would be things that I would look for. You One of the big things for me is you'll hear me say it over and over and over: truth and integrity. You don't get lies from me. It is what it is. We're going to have to deal with it. I'm not going to hide anything from you that doesn't serve me, nor does it serve you. So finding an advisor that speaks to those things for you is really important. If you had a lump sum of money and you weren't really interested or needing to pay off debt in this economy, I would definitely, cash is king right now. Maybe not dollar bills in the sense of paper, but having your own assets right now is really, really valuable. So knowing the season, knowing the times, if you had a large sum, it depends on your age. It depends on what stage of life you're in as to exactly where you might want to direct those funds. If you have children, you know, my biggest answer to you is find tax deferrable ways to use those assets would probably be my best overall answer that would suit maybe the masses and everyone can. So finding tax deferrable products that fit your situation
Mm-hmm.
might be probably the best and first place that I would look to see you use those assets.
Wonderful. And I would like to launch another poll because one of my other questions is specific to, someone's career path, whether they are planning on building their career as an employee or moving from an employee to like a freelancer or a small business owner or even a consultant. And so we do have a poll. I'd like to find out from those of you who are here, what do you consider yourself? Are you a full-time employee? Are you a freelancer or a consultant, or like myself, a small business owner?
Mm. So we've got mostly employees. I don't know
Oh,
if
I
we're
think
able
our
to
poll.
run the poll.
Oh yeah, I think our poll. Well, just go ahead. Our poll. I think it was launched earlier, so we can't get back into it. But go ahead in the chat. Just drop in the chat. Um, whether you're an employee, full-time employee, working up that corporate ladder, or if you're a small business owner or a freelancer consultant.
Okay, so we've got a lot of employees. I'm going to jump in because I know time will get short and I've got so much I want to share. Dealing with employees, I'm always going to tell you to start with the plan that's made available to you. If your company, specifically if they match, you want to be maxing out, definitely to the point of the match. Now, I know there's oftentimes a lot of questions about 401ks. They get, a good view and then sometimes not a good view. They were made and designed to help with tax deferment. So again, it's mostly about I'm always interested in you paying as little tax as possible when it comes to finances. And so maxing out our 401k plans, especially to the point of the matching point. Now, here's where we get strategic. Beyond the point of matching, 401 invest in a certain risk tolerance or a certain aggressiveness within it. The goal of a retirement plan, 401k specifically, and those type of plans are designed to really make sure they're there when it's time for you to retire. They don't want you to have been so aggressive or speculative that you could lose it all. Um, Now, markets have created that where we've had great drops, but if you leave it in, it will rebound. So definitely to the point of matching, you want to be putting there. After that, especially I see some people are both full-time employee and self-employed. As you merge or move off into possibly freelancing or starting your own business, there then you want to create your own retirement plans that you can put into. And if you have your own retirement plan, then you can invest a little differently. Um, there are IRAs that you can buy property in. There are IRAs that you can defer out a lot of cost and put away for your future. So creating those steps and building a team, it's really important. If you're just an employee, not just, but as a full-time employee, maximizing those 401k plans, but really have a good, even as a full-time employee. I know sometimes people do their own taxes. Build out your team. If you're planning to, then you need a team. None of us can do this alone. CPA that you can bounce and expand really. Small business owners, my first thing that I always say to small business owners is do business. And sometimes we want to skirt around doing business and not getting all of the things in place. So let's do business. Get your business license. If
Mm-hmm.
get your tax ID number. Um, don't skirt the steps in order to somehow think that it's going to make it you're saving money, because there comes a point that it's not. We saw that a lot in the pandemic. People were not prepared. They hadn't prepared their businesses to be structured to receive the assets that came through with the pandemic. So do business, get your licensing in place, get your business plan in place, have your if you have a small business and you're making above a certain dollar amount. I'm in the state of California. what I tell people is if you're typically in the state of California, if you're making above $25,000 a year as a sole proprietor, then you need to convert to a LLC, because the taxes that the self-employment tax that you pay each year on that anything above 25,000 is more than the franchise tax board fee that you have to pay every year. So you're really paying more by staying a sole prop above a certain dollar amount. Comes in to help advise you as to where those markers are that you need to convert and do something a little different.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's good. And keeping on with small business owners, you have you heard that term, Simone? She understood the assignment. Have you
Yes.
heard that term? She understood the assignment. Okay. So I was really, when I was going through some of just your background and, the services that you provide, and really thinking about how as a business owner, how our money can understand the assignment it's given. And, a lot of times small business
Mm.
owners, they'll have their wealth tied up in their business and not really planning, for the future. And so really my question is, how can business owners, I saw there were a few who were small business owners, had enterprise. How can those business owners balance between investing back into their businesses and ensuring that they are personally financially secure in the future?
Mm. That goes back to, I think, my one of the messages I said before: do business. And
Mm-hmm.
when you do business, then that you will have created spaces for your business to be separate from your personal. That's why it's created. It's created to create that veil, that wall for you to protect your personal from your business. Um, there's business credit but if you don't do your business license, if you don't incorporate, if you don't do those things, then you wouldn't be able to get that. You'd have to do personal guarantees for your business side of things as early as possible. Create I love that we think there are babies. It's my baby. Well, you have to separate that. That's like when you're looking at buying a home, they tell you don't fall in love with the house yet. You know, it can't be your baby. It has to be your purpose and your vehicle to doing more, but let it be its own entity. And in doing that, then you'll have the structure in place to separate your money. The IRS expects you to take losses in the first year. Take losses. That means I spent more than I brought in. They expect that. We take the mindset that I'm not successful if that's the case. That's not where success lies in business. If we look at people that don't want to provide their tax returns, you'll know it's because the losses that they take, the write-offs that they take, things of that nature, it exceeds. You'd be surprised. So understanding what business really is, um, there comes a point that you don't want to put any into it. The first 3 years, I get it, we put in, but by year 3, you should be able to have a strategy and a system in place that's helping you to be able for the business to support and provide for itself. If you're 3 years in and you're still putting your personal dollars in and it's not paying you, you might want to look at your systems. I'm not saying you're doing bad business or you're not in the right field. You just
Mm-hmm.
maybe need to tweak the system that and how you're doing things.
Yep, that's good. What about for the attendees here who might feel like, man, I'm getting started too late. I'm already in my 30s, I'm in my career, I'm in my 40s, and I'm just now, realizing I need to get this financial thing together. what approach do you have in helping those professionals looking to transition
Mhm,
from,
mhm,
a mindset of like, okay, I was just saving a little bit here and there, to one of actually growing their wealth?
mhm. The first thing I would tell them is it's never too late. I was a late bloomer. I didn't have, we didn't, if we're honest, these were not conversations we had at dinner. These are
Mm-hmm.
not conversations that anyone taught us about what that should look like. In fact, our parents, so I don't know that I ever saw a bank statement of my parents to know what their money
Mm-hmm.
looked like and what our household looked like. And so because of that, now that we're understanding things different, it's never too late.
Mm-hmm.
You might have to be aggressive, but it's never too late.
Yeah.
So what that means is you have to look at what you can and guiding it. I believe in principles. I believe that there are principles that go with money. I believe money is looking for leadership. It's looking for um, us to tell it where to go. I believe every dollar should have a home. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and as you begin to really drill down and come to know who you are, what are your triggers? Money it's so much more than just what to invest in. That's the easy part, frankly, for me as an advisor. I have the issue of making sure you understand what are your triggers. Are you a compulsive shopper? Are you a compensatory shopper? Do you want to keep up with the Joneses? You have to realize and find your financial truth as you then structure how to move from I got started a little bit late. Now, what do I need to do? Because some of that is on the front end, I have to let go of some things
Mm-hmm.
in order to reach this other goal.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people we love the idea of getting started young because I can't out invest time. There's no, there's no investment I can put you in that would beat low and slow and just having put in early. But if we have to put in later, then you must you have to look at possibly really being aggressive and letting go of some of the things that um, keep you from getting to that goal that you now have and now have the finances to secure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
start,
that's good.
start. Please,
Just start.
my biggest is just start, just start.
Yep,
The
and that's what
value
you
is
opened up
there.
with. And that's exactly what you opened up with,
I have
Simone.
one
Thank
other.
you.
Mhm. I have one other thing I really want to share. It's just on my heart to do so, and so I want to make sure I get that out here. Is when it comes to insurance, I think we're a very underinsured population and group, and I want people to. I want to throw out an idea for people to think about when it comes to insurance. Still in the finance background, but um, insurance is how wealth is transferred. It's not by way of retirement funds. I wish I could say I have, I have some clients that have really robust retirement funds, but usually that gets used up. The way to transfer wealth and legacy happens by way of insurance. And I really want us to get into, I'm not going to get caught up on what type. I believe that every product is useful somewhere. You just have to find the right product for you. So it's not about which type you get necessarily. You do that and work that out with your actual advisor and your insurance agent. But I can't, the return that you get from life insurance is so valuable that what I try to create for families is being what I call audacious. And what that could look like, I'm going to give an example. I had a young lady that was a single woman, had no children, but came from a really good, strong family. and she wanted to contribute. It's like, what can I do? How do I help my family transfer wealth? How do I help my family take us to the next level? And so what we did is we put together a policy for her that the family contributed to, nieces, to her nephews, to other family members. Well, you find that family member to insure because they're the right age, it's the right price, but you can be audacious. So we put together
Mm-hmm.
this $1 million policy. She's not going to see it necessarily. There's some aspects that she can get some of it, but the whole point is decision, and the family is contributing it to it because it's going to be how they're going to transfer wealth.
Mm.
So I know that was a bit of a segue, just an idea that I want to throw out there. So much that we don't know that's available in different ways to do things. But that is one that I think, knowing definitely our culture, I believe that we could stand to do that, and we would see change. We would see change in our the way that we hold wealth.
That's good. In the chat, if that was new to you, go ahead and put a note in there that that was something new that you've heard, or maybe you've heard that already before, or already working on that in insurance. Thank you, Simone. We do have two questions in the Q&A that we can go ahead and address before we end
Yes.
our session today and our fireside chat. Um, Jasmine, can you go ahead and load the first Q&A in for us? From Chantel, if we want to get in touch with you, how would we do that? At the end, we're going to post in the LinkedIn, our LinkedIn profile, so you'll be able to have access to that, and you can reach Simone through LinkedIn. And what's that
Yes.
next question? Can you elaborate on pros and cons of LLC versus S corp, and the need for a business license?
Hi, Tamara. Thank you for your question. I'll start with the need for a business license. The business license is how what you're gonna need in order to have a business bank account. Again, we're doing business, so we're separating our business from our personal. So if you're doing business, then you want to definitely start by being a business, and the way you initially do that is by getting a business license. The second question was differentiating between an LLC and an S corp. Big misconception is that those are apples to apples, and they're not.
Mm,
An LLC is a type of corporation. So you can be an LLC or you can be a C corp, liability companies. Your C corps are your larger corporations, usually 100 plus employees. So those are corporations. S corp is not necessarily a corporation. It is a tax filing status. It is what you are telling the IRS how you're filing taxes. So you are an LLC that files taxes as an S corp.
mm. Hopefully that answered your question, Tamara. Thank you for clarifying that, Simone. As we are wrapping up, we only have a few minutes left. We might have time for one more question, but before we do that, was there any final things? I know you had a couple of things in your heart, Simone, before I close things out, that you wanted to make sure people were aware of, or just a lesson that was learned, or one step they can take coming out of this session.
Um, just know that your journey is your journey. I think we get so competitive and comparative that we lose sight and we lose the moment. Um, Knowing to have one of the biggest takeaways that I'd like everybody have gratitude with just today. with what you have today. And I believe that it will open the doors to more.
Mhm.
Find your village and your people that speak to you. Find people, mentors, advisors that speak to you, that understand you, that see you, so that they can help propel you to better and to more.
Thank you, Simone. That was helpful to me. Thank you so much. Well, this really concludes our fireside chat with the amazing Simone Lane. Thank you,
Um,
everybody, for joining us this afternoon. I do want to invite you to the lounge for those of you who have been checking out different sessions with Learning Exchange. When you log out of this session, there is an opportunity to join in on one of the lounges and to network and connect with other professionals. It looks like the next sessions coming up at 2 are diffusion of innovation, AI in the instructional design space, and also speak up effectively, mastering the art of public speaking. They're both up at 2 o'clock. Last but not least, you all will be receiving a survey in your email on Monday. So check your inbox and check your spam just in case. We do have 2 different $50 prizes that will be given away for those who fill out the survey. The Learning Exchange, we really do value your feedback on this virtual conference. So please fill that out for your chance to win. And if that is all, thank you all. Thank you, Simone. I appreciate you so much. And you all have a wonderful and blessed day.